Alrighty, guys. Happy Friday. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. I'll give everyone about probably 60 seconds to come in. When you come in, I'm asking that you greet us, let us know how your day is going and how your week has been. When you come in, leave us a comment, give us some emojis. It's Friday, it's a day to rejoice, and we're so excited about the things that God is doing. Again, when you chime in, give us a comment. Let us know you're in the room. I'll give everybody about 60 seconds. Today is Friday, and we're here. All righty. I see some viewers chiming in. All right, Pastor Tinky. Pastor Tinky's in the room. Fearless Friday. Yes, yes, yes. It is Fearless Friday. We are so excited, and we are fearless, and we are glad that it's Friday. I know it's hard to keep up with the days of the week, but hey, we're in there. Madeline, how are you? How are you, Madeline? Let's see. Vanessa, how are you? Hope all is well. You're staying safe. Madeline, how are the kids? How's the family doing? All righty. That's good. That's good. That's good. It's a blessing just to be here, to enjoy family, to enjoy just this time, to enjoy our Father and everything He is to us. So we're just so excited about that. That's good. She said, everyone is good. That's so good. It's good to know that everybody's doing good, especially Madeline. And Madeline is the wife of Pastor Jay. For those who don't know, they have a new bundle of joy. So I'm sure you guys are just enjoying her and just creating memories during this time. So that's wonderful. Let's see. Pastor Paula, hey, how are you? I hope all is well with you. Everything is going good. Come on in here, guys. We just want to have some conversation and greet everyone. All right, we'll give everyone about 20 to 30 more seconds, and then we're going to dive in what we have today. Today, we're making it about Fearless Friday. Today's going to be Fearless Friday, so that's what we are entitling today, Fearless Friday. We are fearless, and we are courageous, and we're ready to pursue the things that God has in store for us. All right, I see my little brother up here, Cordell. Delio, good afternoon. All righty. I pray everything is well. Everybody's good. Let's see. All right. Well, we're going to get ready to dive into what we have today. I'm just so excited about the things that God has in store for us. Again, is a day above ground. We're celebrating life more abundantly, and that's always a reason to just rejoice and be grateful for His mercies and His unfailing love for us. So today I want to have a conversation with you. I want to talk with you. We won't be up here long, but I want to just take this time to have some dialogue with you on reasons as to why you stopped. Why did you stop? Why, what, and who caused you to stop believing? What and who caused you stop pushing? What and who caused you to stop striving? What and who caused you to become stagnant? Why did you stop? Why did you stop writing? Why did you stop dreaming? Why did you stop seeing? Why did you stop believing? Why did you stop strategizing and planning? We want to talk today. Why did you stop? What made you stop in the middle of doing so good? What made you lose faith? What made you lose hope? We're just going to talk, guys, for a few minutes, and we're just going to have a good time, and we're going to talk, and we're going to be enlightened today. And one of the things that has stopped us and that has prohibited us from going forward is fear. And the Lord began to talk to me and deal with me about the influence and the power that fear has on so many individuals that has prohibited them from striving and going to the next place and the next dimension in life and success. And today I want to bring that to awareness to let you know, I'm going to be your personal coach today, to let you know that quitting is not an option. But we will no longer be slaves of fear. We will no longer be slaves of mediocrity. We will no longer be slaves of stagnation. But today is your release date for you to step into and tap into the place that God desires you to be, to tap into those gifts that He's invested inside of you, to tap into those visions and those ideas that God has impregnated you with. Today is the day for you to release every chain, every shackle, everything that's holding you in bondage. And it's time to tap into the river. So we're going to get right into this thing. 2 Timothy 1:7 states this, and we know this: God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And when we think about what is exactly fear, fear is an unpleasant emotion that's caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous and likely to cause pain. So I begin to think about that. And I don't know about you, but I began to think about there's a show that used to come on some years ago, kind of old. You know, I'm young, so it's not too old. But it's a show that used to come on, and it was called Fear Factor. And a lot of times there were contestants from all over the world that came, and there was a certain cash prize. But in order to get those that prize, you had to endure the process facing some of the most craziest and fearful settings of your life. So I think that I began to think about, man, these people are driven to come and do these tasks and these challenges, but they weren't so focused on doing it. They were focused on the reward that came from doing it. So I begin to think there are times in our lives where even in the middle or in the midst of being afraid to step out and fearful to fail, and we're going to get in that a little bit later, there are times where we just got to do it without thinking. There are times where we just got to do it without hesitation. There are times where we got to do it scared. Yeah, I said it. You got to do it scared. You may be like, well, look, I'm not all the way there. But hey, there are times where I realize that, hey, I'm going to just jump into this and I'm going to just do it. And that's what I want to encourage you. Just do it. For those of you that haven't stepped out, just do it, because He is faithful to perform, and He's definitely going to undergird you. He's definitely going to keep you and sustain you if you make the step. But we have to be willing, and we have to be intentional about making the step. And I know it's hard. We're going to be real. It's hard. Sometimes it's just hard. It's hard to make that step when you've heard you can't. It's hard to make that step when you've had insecurities. It's hard to make that step when your past or has labeled you that you won't be able to, or things have hindered you, and people have prohibited you. It's hard to make that step. You can put yourself in a fence, and that's what fear will do. But you will watch your life pass you by. And there are so many opportunities that you could have indulged in and you could have jumped in, but because of fear, it has incarcerated you in a place that you can't go beyond, that you can't pursue, that you can't succeed. So today we are coming against fear, and we are letting our adversity know, our insecurities know, that we are fearless and that we are intentional about what God has for us. It's a scripture in Romans 8:14-6. And it says, for all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. For if you don't receive a spirit, for you did not receive a spirit of slavery that returns you to fear, but you received the spirit of sonship, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are. Mark Twain says something like this. He's a writer. He said this: I've been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. Think for just a minute about all the time you've spent fearful and worrying. Looking back, you might see that much of what you fearfully anticipated turned out fine. Precious moments in life, moments that could have been full of love, creativity, and presence, were taken over by habitual fear. Fear will never go away or decease until you kill it, until you face it, until you confront it. We think about the story of David and Goliath. That giant could have not been slayed if David did not come and conquer that. So there are some things in our lives, fear, whatever it is, it can be something else, but we're tackling fear today. It stands before us and it will not be executed until you step up and you face it. And not only face it, but you conquer it. And the Bible says that after David conquered it, what did he do? He took the sword and he cut the giant's head off. It's not enough just for you to slay it. But in this moment, you've got to eulogize it. You've got to kill it. And there are a lot of things that is so important to kill things. When you think about the head, without our head, we can't function. So even bringing that to comparison, there are things that we have to kill at the root. There are some things in our lives that have to be severed at the root, because as a result of the root, that's where the fruit will grow. And the fruit that comes from fear is insecurity, low self-esteem, so many different things, lies and deception. All of those are fruit that are a product of the root of fear. I'm telling you guys, I believe today God is saying something to us that we have to confront some things. We got to deal directly with some things. Fear cripples our continuance. You cannot continue with fear. Fear cripples that. It cripples us from being able to persevere and to be able to continue to just go on in our duration. It cripples that. So today, guys, I'm telling you, God is calling us to deal with and confront some things. And I also want to talk to the ones, and again, we're having a conversation. We're just talking today. I want to talk to the ones today that may say, look, Javonte, I started off strong. I didn't have fear. I pushed past the fear. I started off strong and I got in there and I was good and I was pursuing and doing what God wanted me to do. But then in the middle of where I was going and my visions and my admiration, I became scared. I became just like, man, I'm like, I can't do this, or I maybe failed. And it crippled me. It paralyzed me from being able to continue and to go on. That may be you. Today, I want to tell you, it's time to get back in the game. It's time for you to get back in the game. It's time for you to go back to those business plans. It's time for you to go back to those visions. It's time for you to go back to those admirations. It's time for you to go back to those dreams. And it's time for you to revisit those things, because God is saying in this season, I talked last week about missing your exit. Don't miss your exit in this season. I'm telling you, God is saying, listen, I don't want you any longer to be a recipient of fear, but I want you to walk in faith. I want you to walk in power. I want you to walk in a sound mind. So I believe that today is Fearless Friday. We are not walking in fear, and that we have victory over every doubt that may tell us that we can't achieve, or we can't grab, or we can't go to that next place. We have victory. Don't fear your failures. You're going to fail. It's going to happen. Things may not work the first time. Hey, Listen, y'all, it's okay. And this word may not be for everybody today, but I want to encourage a few of you that may say, look, man, I don't know if I can do this again. I tried and I prayed and I want God to do this. I want this thing to come into fruition. And it just seems like I can't get back in that place. Listen, it's okay to fail. It's okay if you don't get it right the first time. It's okay. Listen, you take a deep breath and you get back in the ring. We just came out of a sermon series so profound about staying in the ring. Listen, you take that breather and you get back in the ring. And one thing that I noticed about being in the ring when you fight an opponent, and I'm not a boxer, I know this by observation, but when you fight a boxer, you're in the ring. There are times where you have to go into your corners to refresh yourselves. Okay, you refresh yourselves. It's a place of renewal. But a lot of times there are coaches and there are people that are in your corner hyping you up like, hey, all right, let's get back in there, protect your head, do strategies. They come with strategies to help you to conquer your opponent, to conquer the thing you're facing. In this season, you have to be careful who you allow in your ears, who you allow in your corner. You got to be so intentional to be careful, because sometimes people will talk you out of the very thing that God has called you to conquer, that God has called you to, that God has called you to carry out. So you have to be so protective, not just to protect your head, but to protect your ears, so that you can be sure that where you're going, you have your association that can bring you stimulation, so you can be able to be successful. I tried it. I'm a little, I don't know if I can do it. I'm talking to you today. Listen, get back in there. Get back in the game. And you have to understand, people that come around us and people that we connect ourselves to, we want to be sure that they're endorsing our faith and not our fear. You want to be sure that people are endorsing your faith and not your fear. There's so many times where it's so easy to talk, oh man, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know. I don't see that working. I don't know, because this person did it, but it took them this amount of time to do it. It's so easy to create conversation and dialogue with people that endorses fear, that endorses doubt. But in this very moment, I believe God wants us, as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. He wants us to be sharpened by people that surround us, that are intentional, that mean the best for us, that want to see us succeed. So God is changing our circle a little bit, and that's okay. It's no love lost. He's changing our circle, and you got to be okay with that, because everybody can't go where God is taking you to. All right. So, and we're coming to a close with this. Fear has allowed us to get into the passenger side. This is so good when God spoke this to me. Fear has allowed us to get into the passenger side and become a passenger of the journey that God has called you to initiate. We have opened the passenger's door and we've gotten into the car and we're driving along a journey that God has called us to initiate. But because we've opened ourselves to fear and we've just caused ourselves to be in such a place where we're incapacitated, we're just so governed. We're in this place that we have a hard time just stepping into and just driving into liberty and freedom. So what happens as a result of that? Fear drives us. If we don't drive fear, fear will drive us. And it will drive you out of purpose. It will drive you out of destiny. It will drive you out of your future. You cannot let fear drive you. We can't do that. Not in this season. Not in this season. We're not letting fear drive us, but we're being intentional. And we're initiating our own journey. Why? Because God has given us the grace. He's giving you the grace to finish what he has started through you. All right. So again, don't let fear drive you out of this place. And I'm talking to people that have started out strong and you've gotten discouraged during the process. I just want to encourage your hearts today. And again, this may not be for everyone, but I want to just speak life into those that find themselves in dormant places and places where you want to continue, but you may seem like, I don't know if I could do it. You can, because God equipped you to do it. All right, you can do it. Another point I want to share with you today is always remember this, that your faith always funds your future. Faith always funds your future. Faith always funds your future. But fear forecloses your future. Faith funds your future, but fear forecloses your future. Know that you cannot make it without faith. I mean, hey, when you make that step, you have to understand and listen to this. Sometimes we try to figure things out. Sometimes we try to understand everything. God has not called us to understand everything. God has not called us to comprehend everything. That's not why he's called us. But God has called us to trust him. God has called us to trust him. So there are times and there are going to be things that you don't understand, but you just got to journey through it. You just got to walk through it and keep your heart, keep your mind, keep your ears in the right place so that you can hear him and you can be successful. And don't compare your journey. Don't compare, because this is what we do a lot of times. Sometimes we get to a place where God has called us to do something and we're like, okay, God, I'm gonna do it. But we see our brother or our sister, or we see someone else. They're like, man, you're like, they doing this and it's blowing up. Maybe it's not meant for me. Do not compare what God has placed on the inside of you. Don't compare what God has placed on the inside of you with others. Because let me explain this to you. There are a remnant of people, and there is an assembly of people that are waiting on your voice, that are waiting on your gift, that's waiting on you to move. So listen, you cannot compare what God has given you to someone else, and don't allow fear to silence your voice because you're looking at other people. No. But there are people waiting for you to show up. They're waiting on you to show up. So what do you got to do? You got to be intentional, and you just got to show up. You got to show up and understand that he'll never leave you nor forsake you. And in your levels of success and your levels of trying, he's with you. He is with you to the end. Just understand that. And I just want y'all to really be encouraged today. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's some great things that's in so many of you guys that are out there watching. There's some, some things that once God breathes on it and you just run with it, I'm telling you, it has the power to change a nation, and it's inside of you. But don't allow fear to stop you. Don't allow fear to block you. Don't allow fear to hinder you. Okay? And we're about to wrap up. Listen, I want to say this. When you think about cell phone towers and cell phone companies, there's so many cell phone companies. So many. You got Verizon, Sprint, Metro PCS, Boost Mobile. I can't even name them all. There's so many different T-Mobile, so many different cell phone carriers. But each one of us, they service us different. And you know what? We're okay with that because it gets the job done. There are different towers that reach different places. And it's okay with that. You know why? Because it gets the job done. Understand that there are certain places that some of us can reach. There are certain places that others may not be as strong at, and it's okay. That's why God has called us to do life together. Okay? So understand that. And if you got to step out, do it scared. Doing it scared is better than doing it at all. So do it scared. Do it without thinking. Step out. I'm close with this story. There's a company that was in the process of creating a solution. This solution, they wanted to create this solution to be of success to the cleaning, business and industry and for maintenance and things like that. So they wanted to come up with this solution that will work for the cleanliness of homes and so many other things. So they began to try. They began to try. Okay, we can do this. We can do that. We can do that. It didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. They just kept trying. So they got up to like 300 times of trying to do this, trying to put this solution together for the cleanliness and maintenance of homes. They're trying to put this thing together because they believe it can work. So they get up to like 400 times of trying. This is a real story. 400 times of trying. 401, 402, 403, 404, 405, 406, 407, 408. But they reached the 409th time of trying to put this solution together. And the 409th time that they tried it, it worked. And today we have the formula 409. How many of you guys clean your house with 409? The degrees are for ovens and so many different things. 409. That's why it's called 409, because it took them 409 times to try it before it worked. What is that saying? They didn't get scared the 100th time it didn't work. They kept trying. They kept going because they knew that it would be an expected end. And as a result of their labor, we now have 409 that's selling all around the country. Listen, y'all, if you don't hear anything else I say, hear this. You cannot afford to stop. You cannot afford to quit. You cannot afford to abort what God has placed on the inside of you. Do not let anyone talk you out of it. Don't let your adversary present something else to you. Don't let your thinking, don't overthink. Just do it. Listen, I'm telling you, it's time to jump back in the game. It's time to get back in there. Do not become a prisoner of fear in this season. God has allowed you time, opportunity, and space to begin to tap into those things that he's placed inside of you, because I believe what's in you is waiting to bless the world. All right. I love y'all. That's all I have for you guys today. I pray that it's something that you can take with that. Believe in yourself again. Hey, y'all pick up that pen, get to writing, get to working on that book. Artists, come on, get those lyrics going. Business owners and things that God's placed inside of you. Come on, get those business plans smoothed out. Put a little aside. Some of us God has blessed us with extra, and we have stimulus checks and we thank God for that. But some of us that came in as an additional to us or a blessing to us. Listen, if you got to put some aside and you got to be wise, God is teaching us to save in this season. All right. We want a house, we want a car, but we don't want to save. God is teaching us the process to saving and being good stewardship in this season. Right. So we're doing this thing fearlessly. All right. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful, fearless Friday. Until tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. Be here as we bring hope where you are. God bless you, and I love you.